Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. I am your host, the Lore... Yeah. So, first thing to mention, really quick here, is that it's Darth Tyron's birthday. Happy birthday, Darth Tyron. Congratulations on beating the world for another year. Screw you, world. See, I say that kind of jokingly, that way you don't actually hear the venom in my voice. Because seriously, screw the world. Thank you, Darth Tyron. Very, very much appreciate your support, especially today. I do hope you have a good day, other than, you know, watching this. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Tokyo Vampire, for your sub. Very much appreciate as always, sir. Thank you. I'll put that towards Yakuza Kiwami. Thank you again. Alright, we're done. No more donations. So, we have a betting pool, which is the only bit of show news I have for you today. Let me grab the link. The way this works is actually extremely simple. You put your username, you guess the date and time, if you want to, that you think that we're going to be opening back up the list, the stream funding list. Now, the requirements, if you're not aware, is we need to get that list down to less than 50 games on it. At current, there's 128 games on the list right now. So that's where we're at right now. You can guess, and it's mostly just for fun, you know. It's just for anybody who wants to have fun doing it and whatever. But if you are the winner, the person who is most accurate with regards to their guess, will gain, basically they'll be able to either add a game to the list, or they'll be, and put money towards it, or they'll be able to put money towards a game. It's a fully editable spreadsheet. Do be tolerant and kind and understanding with each other. Don't try to overwrite or erase things. Blah, 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 blah. You know, usual be a decent human being proviso here. And that's actually all I got for show news. Right now I am trying to get a hold of Nadaz1, who I haven't been able to get a hold of in order to finally codify something there. And I've been trying to replace one of my voice actors, because I lost a voice actor for the theater. Which is funny, because other than that, we're actually getting, well, let me be more clear about this. I'm almost at the point where I am done with everything I can do in the theater until people give me lines. Not quite there, because I've only been spending little bits of time on it piece by piece, and what I'm doing right now takes a lot of time. Who needs voiced? Garland, who is a major character, which means I'm going to be a lot pickier about him than I otherwise would be. You need to have a good mic, good sound setup, and a good voice acting potential. If you don't have all three, I'm just going to immediately denounce you for that. Sorry. But for a major character, I'm a lot pickier. Thank you, Platty, for the sub. Very much appreciate, ma'am. And I will put that towards Surviving Mars. In fact, I already have. Random news. I actually just answered that, Crazy Norse. However, since apparently I need to repeat myself, I will repeat myself once. Just once. So, right now, the list, the stream funding list, is closed in lockdown. You cannot add any new games to it. When that list gets below 50 games on the list, we will open the list back up. When do you think that's going to happen? That's what you're betting on. Alright, so random news. Let's start with the bad. How many of you liked Titanfall or Titanfall 2? How long will you be allowed to guess? Oh, I don't know. A few months, probably. Thank you very, very much, Zilly's RSG. Or RG, excuse me. As I'm screwing up your name here. Zilirsk. Thank you. Name that starts with Z. Very, very much appreciate and obliged. Thank you. And I will put that immediately under 50. I just said hazardous. Under 50. Zilir I can do. For the Dragon Quests. Anyways. So, Titanfall. Well, I hope none of you like Titanfall because they have confirmed that they're not actually working on any new Titanfalls and have no plans to work on Titanfall anytime in the near future. So, that's neat. And there's actually more news on this to mention, but apparently the main reason why they're not actually putting any more money, time, and investment into Titanfall is because all of that development time that was going into Titanfall has shuffled over to Apex Legends and whatever they're doing with Jedi Fallen Order 2. Yes, Darth Tyrant. The list has to be below 50. I don't know how else to phrase this. Thank you, Chiran. Very, very much appreciate as always. It has been a while, but I appreciate your support as always. Thank you. And I'll put that towards Zelda. You know what's funny? I have to affix that by saying they're probably working on Jedi Fallen Order 2, because I didn't hear anything about that. When I was looking into this, all I was hearing is that they pushed all their development time and focus over onto Apex Legends. So, they might be working on Jedi Fallen Order 2, but I don't have confirmation of that. So we'll just leave that at where it is. Meanwhile, how many of you like Babylon 5? I mean, it's a nice show, you know. It's alright, I guess. No. It's not one of my favorite shows of all time. So, we've known for some time that JMS has been trying to make something happen with the Babylon 5 universe. He actually has movie rights right now. He actually has the rights to make movies about it. But he does not have TV rights, and that's kind of what he wants to do. So people have been asking him somewhat recently, in fact, just a few weeks ago at this point, hey, you know, what are you thinking about this one? Warner Brothers is rights squatting on Babylon 5. Now, I want to make this very clear. What rights squatting is when a company has the rights to something, is not doing anything with them, has no plans to do with them, and resists all effort to sell that right, either to an IP or to a specific ability, like, for example, to make toys for something, or to make television shows for something, or to make games or movies or whatever. That's right squatting. And that's what Warner Brothers is doing on Babylon 5. Now, why do they do that? Well, there's a lot of reasons companies do that. Sometimes it's because they're stupid. Sometimes it's because they're idiots. And sometimes it's because they're morons. Yeah, exactly, Plutonio. Now, that probably sounds facetious, but I'm not. I do mean that sincerely. The reason they tend to do that is because there's a degree of pride and stupidity involved in it. And so the first reason, because they're stupid, right? They're stupid because they don't actually want to put the effort and time into making anything out of it, because either they don't think it'll be profitable, or they don't think it'll be worth the investment. So that's stupidity. The idiot part is sometimes they're trying to sit on it to try and make sure that it's going to become more valuable or more popular. Demand will go up, and that increases the bid for how much they can sell it for. This is something Sony has done a lot, for example. And the moron part is basically spite, just to put it as simply as possible. Now, I don't have a lot to go on here, but based on JMS's own comments, it sounds like this is spite. This is option 3. And that they actively, I'm just going to use a direct quote here, "We have no plans and no intentions of letting anything else be done in terms of television with Babylon 5. is the direct quote there from Warner Brothers. But yeah, there's apparently several executives at WB right now who have a grudge against various things, which means, by basic consequence, they also have a grudge against Babylon 5. Yeah. So it could be all three. These are not mutually exclusive options. And that's why, like I said, they could be stupid, idiotic, or moronic. Take your pick. Oh yeah, just to make this clear. One person actually asked JMS directly, how long until the rights go to public domain? Doesn't work that way. See, the rights are not owned by an individual, they're owned by a company. The rights are controlled for the life of the owner plus 50. Warner Brothers as a company is not going to die anytime soon. At least until I kill him. But, you know, that's unrelated. So basically the answer is probably never. Yeah. He also asked for the possibility of doing HD versions or Blu-rays of Babylon 5. And they said, no, absolutely not. We will not spend any money on this whatsoever because of any PTEN show. This is the grudge thing. PTEN, I wouldn't be surprised if you've never even heard that, but it was the original network that was a joint venture between Warner Brothers Domestic and Chris Craft Industries. And I don't want to get into details. That would actually take a while. Long story short, there's some bad blood there. So, grudge. Spite. If they have to rebrand because of mergers, the right issues then transfer into the new owner. Hazardous, which means... So, for example, let's say Warner Brothers becomes Disney Brothers, just to make something up off the top of my head here. Well, then Disney Brothers now owns the rights, and as long as Disney Brothers exists, those rights will blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I think that's enough bad news for the week, shall we? But I wanted to start with those. Ghost of Tsushima. Let's move forward a little bit here. Yeah, personal grudges getting in the way of money. That's never happened in television production before. For the last 50 years. That's underballing it. Let's go with 60 years at this point. Actually, not really, Lord Harrimont. The rule that you lose an IP if you don't do anything is only regards to specific licensing rights, not rights in general. No, Bamboozler. Although I think I played Lost Odyssey. So to explain what I mean by that, Lord Harrimont, let's say I just make the extant, okay, and it's a thing, and Lord Harrimont comes to me and says, hey, Lore, I'd like to make a movie about that. So, okay, here, you now have licensing rights to make movies within the extant. Now, if you don't make any movies in the extant, you lose that right, and it reverts back to me. But that's not rights to the extant. That's just the rights to make a movie in the extant. Make sense? So, and yes, if they go bankrupt, the rights can and usually do go on sale. It is extremely common for IPs to be sold off during a bankruptcy thing. Yeah, I can make extant plushies. If I woke up tomorrow with Superman's powers, I would do a lot of things, Imperial Star Destroyer. Many, many, many things. Very carefully. And I would try to make sure nobody knew about it. Ghost of Tsushima. That's coming out July 17th, I think. We're getting close. That's a run that's already funded. It's been funded for a while. We got a trailer teaser thing as part of the Summer Games Fest thing. So that's neat. I'll link it in the VOD. I'm going to stop linking. I got a lot of links this week, but don't worry. I've got all the links. I'll link them all in the VOD. If anybody wants a link, just say something. It looks cool. In fact, it looks pretty damned good. I didn't enjoy Sekiro. I thought I would, so I'm actually pretty hesitant about this one. We'll see. We'll see. I did like Jedi Fallen Order, so at least the possibility exists that I may actually enjoy this. The Mafia trilogy is getting a remaster, which is weird, but actually I'm kind of okay with. Even though I think that Mafia 1 and Mafia 2 could use remakes, not remasters, but whatever. We'll see. Do I like the Dark Souls games? No, I do not. And I've played all three at this point. But the Mafia games, woo! We don't actually have a lot of news about this one. I'm only just mentioning this very briefly. That's because news of that is actually coming this coming Tuesday. So in 2 days, we'll know the full details of what's going on with the Mafia series. Right now, it's actually a lot of rumor and speculation. So I'm just going to mention more Mafia news Tuesday. I'll probably mention whatever's actually true next week. Actually, Bloodborne is on the list, Venters. So, speaking of things I don't have much to say about, Unreal Engine 5 got an unveiling last week. And there is a lot of information about it, which I am not going to go over in detail because, to be completely honest, I am not that much of a tech head as far as engine design in order to really speak of it with any sort of authority. Looks neat. No, seriously, it does actually look like a good engine, legit. From what I have seen, and from what I have read, do note that I'm not talking about how visually impressive it is, because I don't give a damn how visually impressive it is. It does look like a good engine. It looks like an engine that a lot can be done with it. Now, another thing that's kind of amusing about that, though, I pulled up the FAQ here, and I'm staring at it right now. So they have a publishing license agreement and a creator license agreement for Engine 5. Now, I haven't read both agreements in totality, but supposedly, supposedly the license for publishing is free to use and incurs a 5% royalty once you monetize your game for a gross product of more than 1 million. Now, do note, very important, gross product of more than 1 million. That is important. Nevertheless, that's kind of neat. Basically, it's free to use. The way that's being written, and again, I haven't read the whole thing, so don't take my word on this, but the way that's being written is that it's, or being implied, is it's free to use until you make about $1 million gross product. For creators, it's just straight up free to use. You can use it, and there's no royalties, and you can just use it. That requires you to not use any publishing or off-of-the-shelf products. Pretty decent deal. As I say, it sounds a lot like Unity. It sounds a lot like the Unity deal. In fact, it's probably modeled off the Unity deal, if we're just being honest about it. Yeah, no, that's a pretty decent deal. It's easy and relatively cheap for them to do that. Lord knows Epic is not having money problems right now. So yeah, this is a legitimately smart way to get some brownie points. Kudos. We'll see what people do with it probably in about 2 years. Is when we'll really start to see people making use of this engine, because that's probably how long it's going to take for people to really figure out how to use it properly. Moving on. Oh yeah, GTA 5 is free on the Epic Store, because apparently every game I play is on some form of sale. Except for Dragon Age. Dragon Age isn't on sale right now, so there we go. We've bypassed the trend. So, the Tony Hawk games are getting a remaster. Where's this one? There it is. This is including the first 2 of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games, specifically. They say they're remastered. So it's going to include the original levels, characters, tricks, extra challenges, a Create a Park mode, which is going to be touched up, a new multiplayer and online multiplayer and local multiplayer mode, and it will include most of the soundtrack, but of course, licensing issues, so they won't have all of the soundtrack. Vicarious Visions is handling the remaster. They're the guys that did Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, if you remember them, and they've done a couple other things too. We'll see. I mean, they've done PS1 remasters before, so whatever. We'll see if this drifts into remake territory. It might, depending on how they do it. It does look good, overall, and I'm down. I actually have enjoyed the Tony Hawk games several times in my life. Never gotten really too far into them, just because I've never owned them, and thus never actually played them. But good, right? This is cool. I'm with it. It'll be on PS4, Xbone, and PC. Of course, the PC release will be Epic Game Store exclusive. I don't know if that's timed or otherwise. So, Oh yeah, sorry, Terraria had its final patch DLC thing go out. I saw that. I don't remember what it's called. Sure, your Mazda. Yeah, it's taken 9 years for Terraria's. It's funny to think about this. Terraria's technically been in alpha for or open. Oh god, I can't think all of a sudden. Non-release state for 9 years, and they've got their final release. What's it called? Actually, here it is. Journey's End. There it is. Journey's End. So, open beta. Nah, that's not the word I was going for, but it still works. Anyways, so, woo! They finally released it. It's finally patched. Journey's End is out. It's a huge, huge, huge DLC. 800 new items, new enemies, new places to explore, new systems, new NPC happiness thing, fast travel, you can play golf, and Relogic has finally stopped working on the game. That's the big thing right there. They're done with it. It's done! So, good on them. Legit, good on them. Here, I'll go ahead and add that to the list since we're talking about it. Sure, Duthor. I don't care. Paper Mario. So, Paper Mario came out. Oh, right, I'm sorry. Paper Mario has had an announcement release. Paper Mario the Origami King. I'm really not sure what I think about that one. In fact, I actually want to talk about that for a little bit. I'm apparently talking about things out of order here. Whoops. Let me put this up here because we talked about Tony Hawk. I wasn't actually supposed to talk about Paper Mario yet. My bad. You know what? We'll talk about it in a minute. We'll come back to Paper Mario. Harvest Moon is getting a new game. Which is funny because near as I can tell, Seasons is also getting a new game. Which is also coming out on the Switch. Just making sure. There it is. Never mind. Apparently, Story of Seasons is already out on the Switch? That doesn't seem right. Anyways, whatever. I don't care about the Story of Seasons series, except to mention that the Seasons series, that's Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon is not Harvest Moon. Give me a second. So, for those of you not aware, the Harvest Moon series had some rights issues. And what ended up happening is the Harvest Moon development kept going, except they had to rebrand it. They called it the Seasons series. So the Seasons series is the original Harvest Moon series. Someone else, who now had the rights to the Harvest Moon title and brand, started making the Harvest Moon series, the new Harvest Moon series. So the new Harvest Moon game, which is called Harvest Moon One World, I believe. Oh, I've got so many links up here. Give me a second. There we go. Yep, Harvest Moon One World, which was announced just last week. It's coming out on the Switch. Of course it is. And I quote, I want you to imagine a world without tomatoes, strawberries, or even cabbage. Only an old book tells stories of the world, the way the world used to be. You make a mysterious discovery that take them to their hometown, beyond their hometown and into the wider world, and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, this is something I'll be keeping an eye on. I do like those type of games. Stardew Valley is an absolutely freaking amazing game. But the catch is, and I just want to mention this, because I noticed several people in chat said this, and I said this, and Gary said this, and Pax said this, and my sister said this. All of us have said the exact same thing. I mean, how can it compete with Stardew Valley? Which is still getting updates, I remind you. They are still he is still working on Stardew Valley. And there is another content patch planned, at least one. So, whether or not this is actually going to manage to beat the juggernaut that is Stardew Valley is going to be an interesting question. Either way, we'll see. Yeah, Stardew Valley has multiplayer, which is a lot of fun, by the way. I've been playing it with Sis and hope to play more of it with Sis in the future. Yeah, it's like having a WoW killer. Well, I mean, there's a reason WoW's on top, you know? For all its flaws, there's a reason WoW's on top. And same thing with Stardew Valley. Spend, what is it, 5 years making a product of love and joy, and you pull it out, and it's actually an amazing smash success, and you keep producing it. Yeah, it's probably going to be a winner. A Destiny killer. Anyways, Halo killer. Moving on. Digital Devolver is most likely going to have a conference in place of what was going to be the E3 conference. They actually have been kind of amusing. They haven't officially announced that in their particular idiom. They've just said, in these uncertain times, and they're making fun of it. But it's based on everything we actually do understand right now. It's probably going to happen sometime next month in June. We'll see. Yeah, they have much to make fun of, but they've probably been planning this all year, so who knows. Either way, that's a thing. Okay, now, so Paper Mario. There's a new Paper Mario game that was announced called The Origami King. I actually do want to talk about this a bit here. So, I have some history with the Paper Mario series. So Super Mario RPG, just give me a second. Super Mario RPG was a game that I said was stupid and dumb, and then I played it and I loved it. So, egg on my face for that one. And I ate it up, and I loved it. And then they announced Paper Mario on the N64, which was probably my most replayed game on the N64. It's between that and Star Fox 64. And I'm not even joking. I would just replay through that game regularly because I loved Paper Mario. Then Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door came out, also known as Paper Mario 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And even nowadays, now that I have actually reviewed the sucker, it is still one of the best reviewed games I've ever reviewed. It's not at the top, but it's way up there. So, then Super Paper Mario came out, which did not get quite as well reviewed when I reviewed it, and had substantial flaws and issues with it. Then Sticker Star came out. Now, I know it's kind of a meme to hate on Sticker Star, but allow me to just make this point as succinctly as I possibly can. Paper Mario Sticker Star's main villain is Bowser. Now, that's not the problem. He has no dialogue. 0 lines of dialogue. The main villain doesn't say a single word the entire game. I really don't know what else I need to say about Sticker Star. I mean, I could keep going. I could talk about how I hate the ammo system. I could talk about how the main, the format of dungeon design is do dungeon, reach boss, realize the boss can only be killed with one item that you may or may not have gotten. The game tells you which that item is, you die, you go back and then go find the item, then you do the dungeon again and then go fight the boss with the item. I mean, you could have a walkthrough or whatever, but that is actually the structure of the game, is it's designed to make you do each dungeon with each major boss twice, so you can go get the one item that kills them. I can talk about the lack of memorable NPCs, or the lack of humor, or the lack of story. Was it a different team? No. Yeah, Sticker Star's not even a good Mario game, because it focuses more on the platforming, and it kind of sucks. What I think of Thousand Year Door? Well, I feel like I just answered that 5 seconds ago. So yeah, it's a total crap game. Just, I'm sorry. I hope I never have to review it, because it's going to get a whole lot of negatives. Then Color Splash came out. And now some of you may remember I actually streamed Color Splash. And it was a premiere run. We didn't call them that back then. And we weren't really reviewing it in the same way. But I was like, okay, let's try this out. And it was a lot better than I was expecting. I still didn't like the gameplay at all. It was still using some of the same problems like the ammo system. And a lot of the combat and boss design was frankly just atrocious. But it was still very clever. What the? Really? Oh, wow, we've been talking for 30 minutes. Well, that's okay. iTunes is finally loaded, so I can actually switch playlist here. Anyways, thank you very, very much, Kira White Noise. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Much obliged and appreciate. Thank you. Ugh. We'll see if I even manage that one. Anyways, so Color Sticker Star, despite having many issues with the gameplay, nevertheless had a really good story axis. Now, I say it that way because some people misunderstand when I say story axis. I don't mean the plot was amazing. What it was each level was actually fairly large. There was a lot to do in each level, each stage, if you want. And each stage had its own story. And a lot of those stories were really, really well done and really fleshed out, and there was full story arcs and side characters, and it was interesting. It was well done. It was funny. And it just basically nailed the story axis of the game very, very well for me. It even managed to be properly horrifying. There's this really wonderful bit where there's a shy guy. So the whole point of the thing is that the reason it's called Color Splash is people have been draining the color from other people. And so there's this wonderful bit where you see shy guys and they have straws. And it's actually legitimately horrifying. Like, I'm going to fail at describing it properly. And they're all just kind of curled around a toad, drinking the toad up. And they just kind of turn and look at you. And it's really well done. Anyways, so because of that, because of Color Splash and how well done the story axis was, when I first saw New Paper Mario, my first thought was, huh. Now, allow me to give my opinion. I think they focus too much on the gimmicks of the Paper Mario series. Now, obviously, this isn't just speculation. We know, thanks to interviews, and thanks to the feedback that has happened around Super Paper Mario in particular, that that's actually something they've been focusing on from a development side. They actually have been focusing on the gimmicks of the paper. You know, paper. It's got to be paper, right? And so they've been focusing on the paper gimmick in Super, in Sticker Star, in Color Splash, and now in Origami. Because it's all origami, gimmick. That's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as they nail the rest of the game design. You know, the actual gameplay being fun, and the story being good. I do have to point out that the Origami trailer opened with story, with a cutscene, and setting the premise and the idea of where the story's going. That gives me a little bit of hope. If the marketing team is specifically trying to open the trailer with a story scene, that gives me some hope, right? And I have to admit, from what I saw, the trailer's your usual Nintendo trailer. It's just a bunch of rapid-fire things to give you an idea of what you're looking at as quickly and efficiently as possible. So a lot of what we were shown actually looks pretty decent. You know, we've got Bowser, who's kind of be joined the party. We've got, there's going to be a bomb in the party. Baby Bowser's going to be a thing. We'll talk about that, you know, later. They've got a variety of toads. We've got a Sniffit town. There's a Koopa town. There's like a water section. The combat itself looks like it's going to be puzzle-based. There's a ninja area. We'll see. But I guess my point, and the reason I wanted to talk about this more rather than just saying, hey, there's an announcement, this is coming out July 17th, by the way, is I'm not automatically against it, although I am also not automatically for it either. Also, the game ended with a bit where Mario puts on a Samus Aran helmet and starts going around going, literally, pew, pew, pew. Now, let me go ahead and just get that out there for those of you who don't know this. The director of this game is the same director who has worked on and probably is working on the Metroid Prime series. So, whether that's intended to just be a reference to him and his team, because several other people are also working on this game, or if it's intended to be a reference to the fact that they're working on Metroid Prime 4 or whatever, who knows? But either way, that was something that was tossed in there. And, you know, honestly, if you asked me my opinion, I would say it's done for the joke. So, we'll see. We'll see. There's a bit where you're going through an Egyptian tomb and you have Egyptian toads. Speaking of which, I actually went through this trailer a little bit more. I know I don't really do trailer analyses anymore, but I was just checking a few things to see details, and it does look like they've decided to make toads that don't look exactly identical to each other this time around. So that's nice. If you don't understand the significance of that, one of the problems with both Sticker Star and Color Splash is the toads look freaking identical to each other, other than the color of their hat. Which, shrug. Which is interesting, because in Color Splash, they were distinct personalities. Like I said, the story side was good, it's just they all looked like toads. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Moving on. I do have one topic that I feel like I've talked about before. Let's see around max time. Toads were all clones. I mean, even the clones in Star Wars looked different from each other. Although, if you ever want to know why I'm bringing up the visual disparity... whoops. This is actually a meme, but... Now, that's not actually 100% true, which is why I'm mentioning it. But the only reason I'm linking that is because of the top thing. You can see the variety of toad designs in Paper Mario 2. It is worth noting that in Color Splash, they varied them up a little bit. So this is the actual Color Splash toads, to give you a bit better perspective and why I like Color Splash more. Thank you very much, Ciela. Very much obliged and appreciate. Thank you. Do you happen to know where you want to put that? Yeah, the Paper Mario series has been slowly working back to where it started. But yeah, the Sticker Star toads were copy-paste. That's the point of that original image. And that was crap. Color Splash did fix that. Credit where credit's due. Television! How many of you guys like TV? What's the difference, Maverick? Okay, I have to admit, I'm surprised by how many people are saying no. So none of you are interested in The Mandalorian, or The Witcher series, or Star Trek Picard, or whatever. That's not TV. Ah, okay. So, why is that not TV? You know what? I don't even care. I don't care. I'm too tired to care. Make that stuff TV, okay? Okay, now I'm going to ask my question. How many of you care about TV? I do. I'll go and add that. Even though I don't have time to watch it, I'm big into television. That is to say, what I consider television, which is a series of episodes across a show. It's television. The reason I bring this up is I've gone on record for years saying that I think television is a wonderful creative format in a way that not many other things are. Depends, Andrew. Although I am more interested in serialized stuff, but it's not like everything has to be fully serialized. That'd be a horrible world if everything was just exactly how I wanted it. Ugh. But yeah, TV is a great long-term storytelling tool. I've said that for years. And I stand by that sentence, absolutely and 100%. Or showing shows, whatever you want to call it. I don't actually care about the definition. You know what I'm talking about. And I am way too tired. I got woken up in the middle of the night by a spider in my face, so forgive me. It took me about 2 hours to get back to bed because the adrenaline rush was pretty stark. It's okay, I killed it immediately. What actually happened was I felt something on my face. It woke me up, and there was a smack because I actually have really good reflexes, and it was just a dinky little thing. But it took the adrenaline rush of wham took about an hour to wear off, and then it took me about another hour to feel comfortable enough to lay back down. Funnily enough, that's only the second time that's happened in my entire life. Yeah. Maybe I smacked my face too. Oh, it was a bear. Anyways, so sorry. I'm just explaining why I'm so damn tired today, because I basically just lost 2 hours of sleep to that. The first one I was out camping when I was much younger, and it got into my bedroll. And that was fun. I actually haven't been camping since. Anyways, so I think that shows are an excellent form of long-form storytelling. I think that there's more you can do with TV than most other formats. Obviously, a properly designed video game can do the same kind of thing that TV can, and more, because a video game is interactive. But as far as non-interactive medium, non-interactive storytelling, I would say TV and books are probably top-tier storytelling. My opinion, of course. I don't want to disparage movies, but I do think there's just more you can do with the show, right? Now, movies, of course, have their own thing, right? They have their own thing. Oh yeah, comics too. Sorry, I admittedly lump comics into books. I shouldn't do that. I apologize. But, movies is the big thing. You notice that says versus movies specifically up there, because visual media. Now, a movie has to follow certain formats in order to really be structured and enjoyed and make money and blah, blah, blah. There's also the problem with the fact that movies, there's no nice way to say this. Hollywood is incredibly incestuous, right? And I don't mean that all the people are having sex with their family members or whatever. I mean Hollywood, the industry, is constantly cycling the same talent and money into itself and has been causing a lot of issues. Now, this is nothing new. It really isn't. This is an extremely old problem. It's been brought to the forefront a lot in the last year because of the COVID situation, because of the fact that so much production had to be shut down. And basically, artificially, the bubble suddenly stopped being inflated. And now things are having issues and horrific problems. And yeah, that's causing some problems. For reasons you might imagine. It'll be interesting to see how Hollywood will actually endure after this, assuming it will at all. It has actually been posited that movies should, as they currently are, let me go and say that really quickly, stop existing. That the movie culture should go away and be replaced by something more niche and more, not horrifically expensive and not economically self-destructive. It is worth noting that several Hollywood bankrolls have been having bailouts for years and years and years in order to help keep things going. In order to help the Hollywood industry and the Hollywood machine continue functioning. As I've talked about many times, the amount of money that cycles in and out of that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, just absolutely nuts. You'll notice, by the way, that there are a couple of studios out there, Disney, who have already started pushing for the direction of movies being released at release in a streamable format. Just, the movie comes out, and that it's as it comes out is immediately available for streaming. Now, Once upon a time, there was a big gap in between the movie hitting the theaters and the movie hitting VHS. And that was because they literally needed time to actually do that. And then after time, what they did was they started holding back that release to try and get as much sales figures as they could in the theaters before, okay, fine, now we'll release the DVD, now we'll release the Blu-ray, blah, 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 blah. Now, direct-to-DVD is different, Savacom, and frankly doesn't actually exist anymore as a concept. You're right, of course, but that's not this. I remember, if I can share a personal story really quick, I remember the wait in between when Star Trek VI left the theaters and finally came out in VHS. Now, some of you may know that Star Trek VI is one of my favorite movies of all time, and that's still true. But, oh my god, that wait was horrific. And I remember the day, I was actually visiting Dad at the time. I remember the day when Star Trek VI became available in VHS, and I had it on my calendar. And we went out there when the rental place opened up to rent Star Trek VI and take it home, and we watched it on his TV and blah, 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 blah. Oh, man. and then it was just as good as I remembered, you know. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, the idea here, and Hazardous already got this, of course, the idea here is, I think movies... let me just start by saying that I think... Yeah, I remember that one too, Plutonia, although that was a different situation. For me, it was Return of the King, specifically. But anyways. Let me just start by saying that I think the economic incest of Hollywood... And I keep saying that because it is kind of gross. Speaking as someone who pays attention to and cares about economics, what Hollywood does is gross. But anyways, and incest is actually a fairly accurate descriptor. That needs to be fixed. Will it be fixed? Well, but I do think it would be a good move for them to start releasing movies streaming, for that to be the format. And then the theater-going thing, and Javan already got this too, that'll become the niche. You know, going to the theaters to watch a movie will be something you do, like the niche audience does. It will not be the main primary format of watching movies going forward. I think we're already on our way towards that, especially with the COVID thing basically jump-starting the entire idea. Now, I mentioned the televised thing, though, so I have two bits of news here. First of all, Katie Sackhoff is going to be in The Mandalorian Season 2. She is the actual one who plays Bo-Katan back in the show. She voiced it, so she's going to be doing a live action of that. And this is the big one. Star Trek Strange New Worlds was announced. Now, this one really caught me. This is the big news tidbit that really got me thinking about this. So we've got Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Star Trek Picard Season 2, Star Trek Lower Decks, which is the animated show. And then we've got the show that I can't remember the name of, but it's the Section 31 show. And then we're going to have Star Trek New Worlds, Strange New Worlds. Now, it's worth noting that this isn't necessarily an indicator of trends, and we do know that CBS is desperately trying not to be bought out right now and lose their rights to various things. But that's 5 concurrent TV shows that they're working on. Also, this is a good time to mention that this is not the first time I've reported on this, and not the first company doing it, because the MCU has already jumped into this. And, of course, Disney in general and the MCU kind of being a trendsetter, they probably saw this coming already. If you don't know what I'm talking about, while there are new MCU movies coming out, look at their Phase 4, I guess, and look at how much of that is television, shows, that is to say, versus how much of that is movies. Yeah, Disney has already jumped on this wagon. And that's part of why I say I think this is legitimately a trend. And this is legitimately something they're moving towards. And I think that's a good thing. Now, we'll still get Drek. It's impossible not to get Drek in real life. That's kind of how that works. But I do overall think that the long-form storytelling is something that, of shows, is something that's going to be seeing a lot more of an an uprising, increase in quantity over the next couple of years. And I still think, of course, they're still making movies. They're currently still making movies, or at least they were until the virus hit. I don't mind still having movies. I'm a movie geek. I'm a film geek. I'm totally down for movies. But I like the idea of pushing shows more. Especially because what we've kind of had up until now is the rare exception where certain properties would drift into shows, but otherwise shows are more the purview of other things. So, let me restructure my sentence here a little bit. Damn it, John. Well, it almost assuredly will not, we odds. Because that's the trend shows have been going in lately. Shows, television, have been a thing, and have been a big thing for years. This is nothing new. But the problem is, if you look at the percentage of television out there, if you look at the amount of television, the overwhelming majority of it is kind of the same general categories of stuff. I mean no insult to anybody into that. That's, fine. What I mean is that speaking as a geek, we're finally starting to see a larger upswing in geek topics and geek IPs jumping onto the television bandwagon that other things have already had. I mean, how many CSIs did we have for how many years? Just to name one example of this. Never mind soap operas, which are gargantuan in terms of how much they make, or excuse me, how many of them there are and how many of them are made. Well, it absolutely probably will be Imperial Star Destroyer, which is why I say that it probably will not be fixed. So that's neat. Oh yeah, then there's the Law and Orders. Yeah, there's tons and tons and tons. They're actually called police procedurals. That's actually the term. Mexican soap operas. Hey, those are hilarious. I'm sorry. So, I'm interested to see what we get out of this. I think this could overall be a positive thing. That is, of course, just my opinion, and I'm just an idiot. But I do actually think that we could see some good stuff coming out of this. We will probably see a lot of dreck. It probably won't fix or solve anything. And we'll probably continue to see, I mean, I mentioned films, right? And when we think of films, we tend to think of the good films, right? Well, let's just hang on. What movies came out last year? Let's just pull up a list here. What do we got? So, Cats came out last year. Let's not talk about that. This isn't what I want. What I want is the stuff no one's heard about. So Little Women came out, Dr. Sleep, Code 8, Charlie's Angels, Spies in Disguise came out, Angel Has Fallen, The Lighthouse, Us came out, Gemini Man, you might have actually heard of that one, Mirage, M.A., Ford vs. Ferrari, which is actually pretty good. There's an Addams Family film, Bombshell, Hustle, Ad Astra. I bring these things up because, this is the kind of thing that we just have and always have had. Lots of movies come out that are just kind of there and, have their own purposes and function. And so we're going to have the same thing with that in television that we already have with movies and probably already have with television. But at the same time, I am hoping and this is probably me just being stupid and optimistic, but I'm hoping we'll see more, end games, more Jokers, more Far From Homes. I'm trying to think of things that'll be safe to mention on stream here. 1917, Knives Out, that was actually quite good. I like Knives Out. I mean, it had its issues, but, at least it was fun. Alita was apparently pretty decent. But yeah, exactly, Geludo. That's pretty much the core point here. And I really would be totally okay with more companies shifting into television, or that's to say shows, because it means we'll have a decent chance of getting more decent shows in addition to more direct shows. But at least we'll have a decent chance of getting more decent shows. Damn it, Javin, you're right. Hi, Dream Whisperer. Hello, Warcraft Code. Oh, yeah. I actually forgot to talk about this because I didn't even have a list for this here. Yeah, I can't wait, Lord Aramont. Someone actually asked... we just get more lost. Someone actually asked why I haven't covered Picard yet. Because it's new and it's exciting, and someone else answered for me, and that just made my day that someone else understood why I haven't covered Picard enough to answer for me. Like, that really did make my day. That was awesome. So, before we end Loreweek, because I don't have much else to say here. Yes, they're making a Diablo TV series, probably. That's not confirmed. They're making... The Castlevania series is still going. I could mention other shows here. I can mention other shows that are definitely a thing. And Lord knows the Streaminations format has been very, very successful, and I'm very happy about it. And so what we're going to do is eventually... Once we're closer to being done with the current Streamination, I'm going to add a new thing to the website. And it's going to be over there. What was the answer? Do you not know the answer? I'm kidding. I'll tell you the answer in a second. I'm going to add a new thing onto the site, and it's going to be exactly what it is for games, just for shows. Streamination funding. That's what that's going to be. And it's going to be a little category. And you guys can vote for and fund with money which shows you want me to streaminate next. So, the answer, Mike Romano, I'll go ahead and tell you the answer, is it's generally my format to cover things after having some time and thought to go through them as one cohesive unit. AKA, I'm covering all of TNG. I'm covering all of DS9. Next I will be covering all of TOS and all of Enterprise. By the time I am done with those, there's a pretty good chance that I will be able to cover all of Picard and all of Discovery. So... And yeah, schedule is the other obvious reason. I haven't even had time to watch Picard. Never mind actually cover it. Anyways, one last thing. The culling... Actually, I have two last things I just realized. The first last thing is less important. So there's a game called The Culling, which was one of the earliest Battle Royale games, and it sucks. I'm just going to go ahead and say that really, really quick here. It's a crappy game. Here's the thing. They've decided to resurrect it and re-release it. Here's how this works. So you pay $6 to play the game, right? Or excuse me, you pay $6 to procure the game. Now, once you have done that, you get one free match a day. And other than after that one free match a day, let's not even get into the definition of free, you have to pay tokens to play matches. You hang on, it gets stupider. So, yeah, it's literally the arcade machine. You put in a quarter to play. It's also, so check this out. If you win a match, you get a token. Tokens cost about 33 cents each. You can buy 3 tokens for $1, 10 tokens for $3, 20 tokens for $5. Or, now this is going to be even funnier, you can buy a pass for a week for $2. Or a pass for a month for $6. Now, I know that arcades are still big in some parts of the world, but there is a reason that the arcade concept died horribly here in the States. That's all I'm going to say about that. Oh, my God. Last thing, for real. So I was going to do a more in-depth expose on this. Unfortunately, it's still something that's being detailed. So let me just start with this. There's a person and or bot and or bots out there that are going around in YouTube comments saying, hey, you want to be friends? Or grats on this. You want to be friends? Or you want to share a subscription or whatever. You've probably seen this, right? Now, here's the proviso. We don't... This is really loud music. Holy crap. We don't know specifics yet. That's why this is not a full news piece, because it's still something that is being researched right now, and there's some conflicting information. So all I'm going to say is don't respond to them. Don't friend them. Don't subscribe to them. Okay, just don't. Walk away from them. That's the proviso, because right now there seems to be some conflicting evidence about what they can do and how. Can you report their comments? Not sure. Not 100% sure of that. Now, it's funny. I was looking into this myself, and I was going ahead and grabbing some of the accounts that had been doing that on my comments section. Funnily enough, all of the accounts that had done that on my comments section have been deleted. So... by these or by YouTube? That's a good question. The comments are still there? I'm not sure. It's hard for me to tell that from my end. We'll see. Well, it depends, Savicom, because if the information is true about these bots, they're actually hijacking other people's YouTube accounts in order to turn them into comment bots and watch bots to upvote and to boost whatever the hell YouTube calls it, engagement or reaction or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, so we'll see. I just wanted to signal boost that. Don't interact with them. Just leave them alone. It's kind of similar to a thing that hackers have actually done. Hackers is such an outdated term. In real life, where they will borrow other people's computers and then use them to spam, you know, bots or comments or questions, emails or whatever, just in the background. You know, kind of a thing. Anyways, I'm going to go and chop up the local recording.